Hi, everyone. I'm Thérèse, and this is New York Girl Again, The After, the podcast for caregivers who survived the hardest chapter of their lives and are now gathering both the courage and the strength to write the next one. I'm so grateful you're here with me today. We're halfway through National Family Caregivers Month and our series on the Unsung Heart. In last week's episode, The After Begins With You, we talked about rediscovery, remembering who you were before caregiving, and gently learning to become again. And today, we take the next step in this journey, honoring who we cared for and what they left within us. This week's theme is Legacy of Love, because even when the care ends, the connection doesn't. The people we cared for, their laughter, their courage, their quirks, their love, they live on through the ways we now choose to live. When someone you've cared for is gone, their absence can fill every single corner of your world. But over time, something remarkable happens. You start to notice that they're still here, just in ways that no longer require your hands, only your heart. You see them in the small, ordinary things, the cup they used every morning, the smell of their favorite meal, their song coming on the radio just when you need it most, or the way sunlight hits a photo on the mantle at exactly the right time of day. Those moments are love transfigured. And I use that word intentionally, transfigured, because those memories eventually stop hurting so sharply. They stop being reminders of what's gone, and instead become proof that connection never ends. You once cared for their body, their needs, their comfort, but now you carry their essence, the part that made them them. And that's how legacy begins. Because caregiving was never just a duty or a role. It was a love story, written through service, sacrifice, and grace. And when that chapter closes, the love doesn't disappear. It simply changes form, becoming guidance, presence, and sometimes even inspiration. When someone you cared for, someone you loved, leaves this world, they don't just leave memories behind. They leave lessons, soft ones, quiet ones, the kind that settle into your bones long before you ever realize they're there. And it isn't until the after, when the house is still, when your hands are finally empty, that these lessons begin to rise to the surface. Caregiving teaches truths that most people never touch. Truths so deep, you can only understand them once you're on the other side of the journey. Lessons like, patience is a language of love. Not the pretty kind, the real kind. The kind that shows up when someone repeats the same question over and over, or refuses to eat, or moves at a pace your schedule never had room for. The kind that stretches you and softens you, all at the same time. And the lesson that presence is more powerful than perfection. You learn quickly that no one remembers the right words. They remember the person who stayed, the one who didn't leave the room when things got too heavy, the one who didn't turn away. And the lesson that small moments matter most. A warm blanket, a kiss on the forehead, a hand held a little tighter when both of you were scared, a smile shared on a day when smiling felt impossible. These are the moments that outlast everything. The illness, the decline, even the grief. And finally, the lesson that strength isn't loud, it's steady. You learn to be strong in a way no one applauds, no one posts about, no one fully understands unless they've lived it. Quiet, unwavering strength. And here's the truth. You may not want to admit it, but these lessons didn't leave with them. They live inside you now. They shape how you love, how you heal, how you show up in this world. Whether you realize it or not, you're carrying forward the very best parts of the person you cared for. Their kindness, their humor, their resilience, their faith, their goodness. Because legacy isn't about the things people leave behind. Legacy is what they awaken in us. Sometimes that legacy looks like courage. Sometimes it looks like compassion. Sometimes it's the choice to live more boldly because they can't anymore. And because you know, deep down, they would want you to. And sometimes, legacy is the simple act of finally giving yourself the love, rest, dignity, and gentleness you once fought so fiercely to give to them. Their story didn't end. It's still unfolding through the way you live now, through the parts of them you carry forward, and through the person you're slowly becoming in the after. There comes a moment in the after when the sharpness of grief softens, just enough for you to feel something living underneath it. And often, that something is their love. Not gone, not faded, just transformed. For a long time, the after feels directionless. Caregiving gave you a rhythm, a purpose, 100 daily signals telling you what mattered, where to go, what needed your hands, your heart, your strength. And when that ends, you don't just lose the routine. You lose the North Star that guided your every breath. You feel unanchored, untethered, like the compass you trusted for years is suddenly spinning in circles. But slowly, so slowly you barely notice it at first, you begin to realize their love didn't leave with them. It shifted. It settled into your spirit. It became a quiet, steady, inner guide. It shows up in the simplest moments. During a walk when you suddenly feel them beside you. In a difficult decision when their voice rises in your memory saying, "You've got this." In the instant you choose courage over fear, kindness over bitterness, or forgiveness, not for them, but for you. That's their love, still leading you, still shaping you, still helping you grow into the person they always believed you could become. Because caregiving was never just a task. It was a relationship. It was a bond. One built on trust and tenderness and devotion. And bonds like that, they don't dissolve. They evolve. They become a compass in the quiet, guiding you through the after in ways nothing else can. Think of it this way. The same love that guided your hands when you cared for them is the same love guiding your heart as you learn to finally care for yourself again. Their wisdom becomes gentler now. Their presence becomes quieter. Their impact becomes woven into your daily choices, the way you love, the way you walk through the world, the bravery you keep choosing, even when no one sees it. You're not starting over. You're moving forward with everything they gave you, every lesson, every ounce of strength, every part of themselves they entrusted to your heart. Legacy is not just memory. Legacy is direction. It's the unseen hand that steadies you when life feels unfamiliar or too quiet. And whether you realize it or not, you're already walking with it. And if you listen closely, you'll realize something beautiful. You're not walking into the after alone. You're walking with the love that shaped you, the love that strengthened you, the love that now points you towards your next chapter. There comes a moment in every caregiver's after when you realize something quietly magnificent. You're not just holding their memory, you're living their legacy. Not in a heavy, burdensome way, but in a way that feels like light slowly returning to the places grief once hollowed out. Because legacy was never meant to be a weight. Legacy is meant to be a continuation, a way of letting their love move through you instead of stopping with you. And suddenly the question becomes, what do you want to build with the gifts they placed in your hands? Maybe their legacy shows up in the way you speak to people now. A little softer, a little gentler, because you've witnessed up close how fragile a human heart can be. Maybe it shows up in the way you fight for your own health now, because you saw what happens when health disappears, and because you spent so many years neglecting your own body in the name of survival. You promised yourself you'd treat your body with more dignity, and now you finally are. Maybe that legacy shows up in the courage you didn't know you had. The courage to dream again, to try something new, to step out of your comfort zone and into a chapter that isn't defined by crisis or exhaustion anymore. Because the truth is this: the person you are in the after is shaped just as much by what you endured as by the love that shaped you along the way. You are the continuation of their story. Every time you choose compassion over anger, growth over fear, every time you refuse to shrink under the weight of the past, you honor them. Not by clinging to what was lost, but by daring to create what comes next. The after isn't a shadow of the life you had. It's soil, rich soil. And what grows from it is the living expression of everything they taught you, everything they loved in you, everything they believed you deserved. You're not forgetting them. You're expanding them. You're allowing their legacy to become something only you could bring into this world. And that is one of the most beautiful acts of love you will ever offer. So take a breath with me, right here, right now, because you've just spent this time walking through memories, through echoes, through heartbreak, through love that shaped you in ways words can barely hold. So place a hand over your heart for a moment and just notice it. This steady beat, this quiet rhythm, this living proof that you are still here. You are still becoming. You are still carrying forward the love that shaped you, and still fully capable of becoming everything your heart desires. The after, it isn't about forgetting. It isn't about moving on. And it is certainly not about pretending to be strong. It's about honoring the ways their life changed yours. and allowing those changes to guide you into what you're meant to be now. Because legacy doesn't end with loss. Legacy breathes through you, in your decisions, your gentleness, your courage, your willingness to hope again, even after life has broken you open. So if no one has told you this lately, you're doing beautifully. You're walking through a chapter most people will never understand, and few could ever withstand. And yet, here you are, still loving, still learning, still rising. And that deserves reverence. It deserves tenderness. It deserves honor. And every time you choose kindness over bitterness, patience over frustration, courage over fear, you're not just healing, you're continuing what they began. That is the legacy of love. Because caregiving doesn't just transform one life, it transforms generations. This November and always, we honor you. The ones who gave, the ones who grieved, and the ones who are learning to live again. I'm Thérèse, and this is New York Girl Again, the After. If this episode touched your heart, please share it with someone finding their way through their own after. And follow us at New York Girl Again on Facebook and Instagram for daily reflections throughout the month of the Unsung Heart. Visit newyorkgirlagain.com. And remember, their love didn't end when the care did. It simply found a new home in you.